Have you ever won the tryout for a paintball team and wonder what it's like and what's the process? Well, this week on Old Guy Paintball, we're going to talk about that. Hello, everyone, and welcome to my channel. I'm Craig, and I'm your host. And this week's subject of our video is going to be team tryouts. Team tryouts happen generally in January and February as teams start to look for potential players for the upcoming season. One of the biggest things is there's two different types of tryouts, an open tryout and an invitational tryout. But before we get to the tryouts, let me cover some basic things before you'd even consider going to tryout. First of all, are you in shape? I know it's been the holidays, but you should be in shape and ready to go when team tryouts happen. They could be anywhere from mid-January through mid-February, maybe a little later. So if you haven't been staying in shape, you better start working out and getting ready to go. The last thing you want to do is show up at a field and be out of shape, out of breath. It just doesn't look good. It doesn't look like you're committed to the sport. The second thing is, before you'd ever go to a trial, is look at your finances. Most teams do not get much of a sponsorship. You have to be a pretty elite team in any division to get a decent sponsorship package that's going to help you out. Most teams foot the bill themselves, and it can be very expensive. I mean, we all know on every week how much paintball is, but when you start practicing maybe once, twice a month, travel to tournaments, it can get very pricey. So if you don't have the finances, think twice about trying out, because a lot of teams will ask you that. And the last thing they want is someone who starts the season and after one or two tournaments, hey, I can't afford it, and drops out. It's not a good look for you, and it really screws a team over. So make sure that you can afford the series that they're going to be playing in or the tournament they're going to be playing in before you commit to trying out. And with that, let's talk about the tryouts. The first kind is the open tryout. That's generally, you'll see on a social media page, Team X is having a tryout on this date or these dates at this time, and this is how much it costs. You may see flyers at your local field or something like that, but that's generally what it means is they're opening up to anyone and all paintballers to come out and try out for their team. The good thing with that is it's probably the easiest way to get a tryout, and anybody can go. But before you do that, get a hold of the people and the contact information and ask them a couple of questions. What are you looking for? Are you looking for a specific position? Or are you looking for a certain type of player? Or are you looking for something else? And the reason for that is, for example, if they're looking primarily for a snake player and you play in the back, it's probably not going to be a great tryout. They may look at you, but most teams have multiple people that can play different positions. So unless you're a super standout, they're probably not going to take much stock in your trying effort. The second thing is find out how much the costs are to do the tryout. Oftentimes it's paint, sometimes it's just an open day and you don't have to pay any entry fee, but just find out, make sure all the costs, that there's not anything additional costs for anything else, and about how long the day may last. Is it going to be a 4-hour, 6-hour day? Would there be a lunch provided? Will there be a break? So you know what to bring and how to prepare for it. And once you get to that point, and you're going to committed to going to this tryout, definitely check your paintball equipment out. Make sure at least the night before or a couple of days before, preferably, your gun is well oiled, well greased, well lubed, whatever you want to call it. Your equipment is ready to go. Your pods pack looks good. You have pods because you're going to have to carry paint out there. Wash your clothes or your jerseys. You want to be as presentable as possible, and you want to make sure your equipment is working. The last thing you want to do is get out there and something goes wrong and it ends your day. It just doesn't look good. It doesn't look like you're committed to paintball as a sport, and it doesn't look like you're very refined as an athlete, that your gear is not ready to go. So when the day comes for this open tryout, and let's just say it's at 8 a.m., get to the field at least a half an hour early. This gets you time to get your gear out, get dressed, do a little warm-up, do your registration. The last thing you want to do is be rolling in at 7:55 and scrambling and trying to get all this done. Again, it doesn't look good to a team if you're not ready to go when they're ready to go. Now they may do their own kind of warm-up drills, and they may go over a lot of, they're going to go over a lot with the tryout that day, but you want to do a little tryout and get yourself warmed up and stretched out before you do that, just so you don't have any issues. And not only that, it looks good that you're committed to staying in shape for paintball. And when you go out there, do the best you can, ask questions, make sure you understand the drills and you're doing them correctly, or you're doing whatever they ask is to the best of your abilities, because that's the best thing that's going to happen for you, is to look like you know what you're doing and trying to be the best presenting of yourself as you can. And in the end, not everybody makes it. You might get cut in the first round, and if they do, be polite and be gracious. Thank them for the tryout and allowing you to come, and also ask for a critique. Is there something you think that you could do better so that you can be better the next time they have a tryout? And if they say, hey, you made it to the next round, again, be gracious, thankful for the opportunity, and don't take it out on anybody who didn't make it and kind of, put them down or anything like that. Not everybody makes it the first time. Sometimes it takes 2 or 3 times. Sometimes you may never get there. But always be gracious no matter what happens. And if you get a second opportunity, same thing as before. If there's a second tryout, make sure you're ready to go at the time they ask. The next kind of tryout we're going to talk about is the invitational tryout. That is where you're at a field and someone may come up to you, 1 or 2 players may say, hey, we have a paintball team and we got to practice here in 2 weeks. Would you like to come out and run some lines with us? That's a good thing for 2 reasons. 1, it shows that a team or someone has seen that you have skills that they might be interested in, or you might have a really good attitude in the field. You're like really friendly and you're helpful and you don't get mad when things go wrong. They may look at you and say, hey, this guy might be a fit for our team. And that's what they're trying to do. They're inviting you to come out and run some lines with their people to see, do you have the skill in a tournament type environment that they play? And second of all is, can you mesh with the people who are already on the team? No team wants a hothead or a guy with a bad attitude or someone who just, I'm just here. So that's always a good thing, is that, that they notice something in you. And also when they do, if they do that, and same with any other tryout, you want to be, positive and try your best. This is no different than the open tryout, but, go out there, try your best. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But again, thank them for the opportunity and ask for critique. Maybe there's some elements of your game that you need to be a little tighter on, and they'll help tell you that if you didn't figure it out by playing with them. So that maybe, down the road, if you're polite and something happens, a guy can't make a tournament, they might think of you, say, hey, this guy wasn't that bad. We've seen him. He seemed to have improved a little bit. Let's see if he wants to fill in for a week. That can always be a good thing for you. So being gracious may pay off in the long run. The other thing I want to talk about tryouts is to always be cautious of that. Unfortunately, some of these tryouts aren't very real. And by that I mean January, February are generally known as dead time frames for fields. And teams at certain fields are usually sponsored by that field in some aspect. So tryouts sometimes are done as a win-win for the team and field to, 1, generate funds for this upcoming season, primarily their first tournament, and also helps the field get rid of a lot of old paint, old inventory before the new season comes and they get fresh stuff. Unfortunately, this has kind of happened sometimes that teams really aren't looking for people. They're just trying to make some money and help their field out. So that's one reason why you want to ask some questions. And if it doesn't sound right, don't waste your time going. I mean, there's no point you spending, travel time and playing time unless you just want to try to get out there and try to play. It may not be the best thing. So always make sure you ask questions and try to find out what their real intentions are. And also, the other thing with tryouts is, again, like I've said before, not everybody makes it. There are people with very high skill levels out there, and make sure that you're matching your skill level to the team that you're trying out for. For example, if you're just a recreational player, trying out for a D3 team probably is not going to work out for you. You're going to have to try Division 5 or Division 4, kind of a entry-level team. But be honest with them if you don't have a lot of paintball experience in tournaments, and or you're just a general player, because again, you don't want to waste anyone's time and get people mad at you. So, but always be gracious in your tryouts, and be honest, and understand what you're committing to. That teams expect you to be there, they expect you to practice, and you don't want to ever bring up the "what's in it for me" at a tryout. Also, don't go to the team. The first thing questions you out of your mouth is, "Hey, what kind of sponsorship you get? What do I get? What do I need?" Because that's going to turn off a lot of players and a lot of your teams real quickly. People are always worried about someone coming in and wanting a free ride to get free gear and stuff like that. So always, don't talk about anything until they actually want to sit down and offer you a position with the team, so you realize what you're getting into and the commitment you have to make. So you want to make sure that you have a fun time at tryouts, and you also don't want to waste time and money that is valuable to you. So with that being said, have fun at your tryouts. Get the information you need, and if it seems like something you want to do, go for it. You've got nothing to lose, and you never know. You might make a team and you might have a lot of fun at it. But please, always be respectful when you go to these events. They can be very stressful. They can be very intense with other players. There's people who are sometimes fighting for their positions on teams. Some got cut from another team and are desperate to get on another team. So always try to, present yourself in the best possible way and try to look like you can be the best possible teammate. It'll do you wonders. And with that, I hope if you get a chance to try a team, that has you come out for a tryout, or you want to go to a tryout, go for it. Have fun, and we'll see you on the paintball field soon.